Welcome to Reality After Show's coverage of Squid Game Season 3. I'm Bobby Goodsby, the producer here at Reality After Show, joined as always for all Squid Game coverage by Lauren Pratt. Lauren, how are you doing today?
Bobby, what's good? I am fantastic. Happy to be here and talking some Squid Game Season 3 and getting your takes on it because people have various opinions on this. Some people loved it, some people it was so-so, and some people absolutely hated it.
Yeah, I think I'm in that camp. I wasn't a big fan of how this season ended, but we'll get to it. Lauren, you do an amazing job. You've covered all the seasons with Dan. Dan obviously couldn't be here today, but hopefully tomorrow there's supposed to be a podcast with Dan and Lauren, so we'll definitely look forward to that. So check that out in the feed. I know we're a little late on getting out Squid Game content. Sorry, our schedules didn't fully match up, and we were supposed to do all three of us, but we had to make it work, cut it into two different podcasts. But we'll be breaking down the whole season, us two, and then Dan and Lauren will be breaking it down separately tomorrow. So look forward to that. Let's get into it. Lauren, where do you want to start?
Well, it's so hard because there's so many elements to this season. It's just a big onion layer, if you will. And we're getting people's storylines that we weren't necessarily seeing in season 2. They built on them more in season 3. So I'm fair game wherever you want to start and begin with this, because there's so many options. We could talk about the games that they have to go through, and there's one in particular, and I'll let's start here.
Okay.
The hide and seek.
Yes.
My golly. Wow. Just thinking it all through, and the concept and the pieces, just how you're writing all of that, and the storyline with all the doors, all the mystery, then needing 3 keys to get out. It's insane.
This was probably my favorite, like probably the peak of the entire season was this game, and the context between it being basically 2 episodes almost, or like an episode and a half essentially. And I felt like we lost a lot of big characters in this moment, and we lost, and we had a lot of storylines finally tied together. So let's start with our guy number 4, 5, 6. I was so frustrated watching this because he was so narrow-minded on he had to take out what's the player's name or the number on him? I'm blanking on his number.
388.
388. He was just so locked in that he had to take this guy out because he's the one that betrayed us and cost all those people their lives. And for 388, like the poor guy was just like, 1, terrified, and then 2, wouldn't even make eye contact, right? Like that was like a big meme, was like when he's just 4, 5, 6 just locked on him, and he's just like trying to look away, like don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. I wasn't a big fan of that because it was like you knew the risk, 4, 5, 6, of going in there and taking that chance of trying to take this whole thing down with just a few people. Yeah, he kind of, bitched out and didn't want to return and help out, but like you are also partially responsible for those people dying as well.
Absolutely. And you also have to think about it from this point of view. Some people in critical moments freeze and can't do anything about it. And there's no way of working around that. That's just how some people are as human beings. And it's not something that you can fix right on the spot. When you're in that moment and you are like, they're counting on you to bring all the ammo back. And that's so much pressure. And I just think he froze and just couldn't snap out of it.
Yeah. Just, it wasn't the fact that we end up seeing him, basically take out 388 and, obviously eliminate him from the game, but also eliminate that storyline. I kind of wanted that storyline to go a little bit more, and maybe there'd be some kind of redemption for 388, but there was really nothing. So I get why they decided to go this route. It wasn't my favorite, but I understand why they did it.
Would you have preferred to see at the end him with 388 in the last battle? Would you have preferred to have seen that? Would that made a difference for you?
I think that would have at least gone a long way to see like that storyline develop throughout the entire season, right? So like it kind of just climaxed in, beginning of episode 2, and that was it. Like he was dead, he was gone. So I would have liked to have seen that, but at the same time, who else was 456 going to kill? Right? Like he had to kill someone to stay alive in that game, and they made it very, very clear that that was his target. So I'm of two camps, right? Like I wish that storyline would have developed more and we would have got more at the end. I think that would have been a hell of a lot better than the actual ending we got. But yeah, I get why they chose that. So next, let's talk about how we had our other players. Let's go with 333. What is it? Myunggi, who obviously this guy, man, like he's got this mission to protect basically, the baby and Noel, like, or not Noel, excuse me. Gosh, so the names are always super hard for me. Where's the
Player
number?
222.
Yeah. 222. How could I forget? 222.
Yes.
So he had this mission to save Junhee, player 222, and their baby. And the whole time he's like, oh yeah, I'll find you and I'll protect you. And this guy's story goes so many different directions, right? Like it goes from, oh, I'm going to be a good guy and I'm going to change and I'm going to, protect you and the baby and this, I'm doing this for us, to every chance he has at like redemption style story, he just goes the other way. Like he can't control the fact that he's just internally an asshole and just it's never going to change.
Absolutely. He is one of my least favorite characters, but what I will say, the acting, phenomenal. And that's with so many of these people. Like you are being told as a viewer, yes, we definitely hate this character, but whoever is acting is doing a phenomenal job because they're making me dislike you so much. And even with him, if we're looking at this, going into that hide and seek game, he decides to team up with player 124. And we know how player 124 has been the entire time, being the sidekick of Thanos, being on the drugs. And you can clearly see this guy is an absolute nut job. And he still decides to team with him, where his entire mission originally going into that was, okay, I'm going to make my kill and then go find my girl and make sure that she's okay. And that is not what happened. What happened was they went on a killing rampage after what they needed to do to get their first successful, you have now passed the game.
Yeah. I'm going to say right now, Namgyu at number 124 is probably one of my favorite players and favorite actors in this entire series. Like the way he just portrays that evil, psycho, drug addict, bloodthirsty, just willing to do anything to stay in the game. I mean, I thought it was a phenomenal acting job, even though, we're watching it in a foreign language. Obviously, some people are subtitles. I'm dubbed. I don't care. I know people are going to come at me because I like dubbed, but that's how I have to do it. I'm not a quick enough reader, people. But I think that, what is his name? Jae-won, who plays Namgyu, phenomenal actor. I would love to see him in more stuff because he just is like that perfect villain, right? That perfect insecure villain. Because in season 2, he's really just the henchman, right? He's just the second command, and you can see him really leaning into that character where he's like knows Thanos is always going to be like, he's the Thanos right-hand man. He's not going to be the man until Thanos is gone. And now in season 3 with Thanos gone, he just turns and does a whole 180 where he's like, now I'm in charge. Now I'm going to do my own game and I'm going to be this evil person trying to do whatever it takes to win the game. And I thought it was a great character arc for him. But the fact that he's so cold-blooded and being like, you know what? We could take some of these people out and then it's just better numbers for us. Like it's a genius idea, real asshole, but it's a genius idea.
Well, even look, the people that were already taken out, he goes up to the one dead body and is just messing with it, and then is going to proceed to go on to player 100, which I was like, oh, just take this guy out, seriously. And then that's when 333 was like, hey, listen, let's just go. We gotta go.
Yeah.
And then I go, we still are stuck with 100. This man needs to leave my screen.
All right. So then next we have the storyline of player 007, Youngsik, and his mother, Gyum-ja, player 149. What did you think about them switching roles? Because, like, I get how it makes sense, and especially since she wants to be there to protect 222. And but as soon as 007 decided he was going to take the knife and try to pull the trigger, and she said, "You've never been that kind of kid. Like, you were never the one strong enough to, whenever you got in a fight, you always lost the fight." Like, I was like, he's done. Like, he's not going to be able to do this. I wish 149, because she would have had no problem, man. Like, she would have pulled out those chopsticks or whatever she had in her hair and just, just like she did to her own son eventually in the episode. I think that was a huge mistake for them. Man, what an episode, because the fact that we got that storyline where she had to pull the trigger on her own son to protect 222 and the baby, it was phenomenal. I thought that was a very, very good character arc for those two characters.
Definitely. And what I would have found interesting is, say, for instance, that they don't switch roles there, and then 149 does the deed, does what she needs to do to get her one kill, and then is with 120 and 222 and just is there as their protector with the knife the entire time. Anyone that comes their way, I'm going to help these people out. I don't know. It's just, but you can't, the problem with that scenario is red on red could not kill each other, which makes sense for the concept of the game. But that would have been awesome if you really could go after anybody. I think that'd be fun, but they weren't going to do that. You had the blue team, you had the red team. And let's talk about player 120, because man, I was not ready for that character to go. I still think that episode wasn't the right episode. There was still, you could have built a little bit more on 120. And I get why they did it, because so many people were devastated that 120 got eliminated, especially the way that it happened, because 333 is supposed to come and protect 222 and the baby, and 120 was the one protecting her and the baby.
To lose 120 here was so rough. And you knew as soon as she opened the door and figured it out and took one step in and realized, oh no, I have to go back for them, you knew she was a goner, right? Like, you knew that was her moment to save herself and get out of this game. But she was so, caring and wanted to show that she had this compassion for the others, that she was there to protect. I mean, she went on a rampage just kicking everyone's ass that came after him up until that point, right? And then for her to just lose by getting stabbed in the back, it was like, after all this shit she just went through, roughing up her leg, basically taking someone out that was, trying to endanger 222 and 333, like, or not 333, the older lady, or 149, and to just be stabbed in the back by 333. It was gut wrenching. It was awful to see. And the irony is, she's there trying to help 333's child and lady that he essentially is like trying to protect. And as soon as he does it and he sees her and realizes, oh, I just took out someone that was like protecting, like, you can almost see like he knew what he did in that moment. And then it's instantly like, oh, it doesn't matter. I gotta go do more. Right? Like, he just took off after that. Like, I thought you were there to protect them. You're there in front of them. You have everything you need right here, and you still don't stay around to protect. Like, I don't know. It was very frustrating, and it was a sad way to see her getting taken out.
Oh, very sad. I was not happy at all. I think the problem with that situation for 333 was 124 was so close by, and you heard him asking, is anybody there? And he had to say no, because the way 124's head was, I think he would have gone in there, had no mercy, and taken them out anyway, because you saw it with the dead body, as we said. He was messing with a dead body you already knew was dead.
Oh, and he's definitely psycho enough to just not give two shits about anything. Doesn't care if there's a baby or older woman, nothing. Like, right? And it was the right choice by 333 to say, oh no, there's no one in here, let's go. But at the same time, it's like, you're there to protect, so why wouldn't you just like tell him, well, why don't you go this way, I'll take out who's ever in here, right? Like, or something to that extent, and then just like shut the door behind and not make sure he can't get in. Like, I feel like there was a lot of options there, right? And just to stab her in the back so cold-bloodedly, and like, just it's just frustrating, very frustrating.
But that's why they make shows like this, because they want you to be frustrated. They do not want you to have the happy ending that you're looking for, especially in a game such as Squid Game.
How did you like the fact that they end up finding the door and you need the 3 keys, right? Like it was, I liked that fact that you had to have the keys to enter it and it had to be the symbols that were correct. I was so confused though, because I was like, it's obviously not just one door, right? So there's multiple doors that can lead you to an exit, because we saw with the shaman lady and what was it, player 100, who's the older guy?
Player 100 was with her.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And how he like kind of betrayed her and basically got her killed essentially to an extent by Minsu. But I was confused at how many doors actually lead to this exit, because it didn't seem like that was the same door that we saw 222, the baby, and 149 all go, or 142 all go through.
Right. I'm wondering, see, that's a problem. The course was huge. There were so many different doors, and I think I thought they said in the show that there was only one way to get
That's
out.
What I thought.
Yeah, I thought there was only one way to get out. But what I wanted us to say is, with player 144, you knew one of them was gonna betray the other in that situation. They had to. And I think her mistake was she was not very nice to him, saying, "Why do you think I brought you here?" Like with the whole key situation. And then he's like, if you're gonna be an asshole to me, fuck you. You're just gonna die.
44 is another great actress portrayal. Like how she goes and convinces, she goes from 2 people to 4 people following her, and she just is making shit up as she goes. It's clear as day that she doesn't know what she's doing, but acting like this to basically be a shaman and lead these people to potentially something that she can use to get out of a situation and protect herself by using these people's emotions and making them think that they're safe with her. They're never going to be safe. Like, no matter what, these people are going down before she does. And I loved how she leads people around the entire place only to get murdered in front of all these people. Like all those people that were with her, we saw 2 get taken out right away. Right. And then it's like, all right, now she's by herself. I love that, because it was such a good reminder of her story from season 2. Because like I feel like going into season 3, I kind of had forgotten she was even a part of the show. And then to see her, and she's a lot like the player in season 1, right? There was that crazy lady that ended up, taking the guy out on the glass walk and just taking him out on the bridge, and because he said he didn't love her or whatever. Like that was essentially the same character, right? They were 2 peas in a pod. But I loved how we got this, I am going to use my followers to the best of my extent to get me further in this game and protect myself, only for her to be alone by herself and taken out by Minsu.
Well, even this, you see that moment where she opens the door, because in her mind, I found the exit, and the 4 people behind her are very convinced that like she has it. She's got it. Not a problem. Slowly closes the door and is, see ya, goodbye. And then they get attacked.
Yeah.
Not a thought from her whatsoever. No. Nothing. Did not care.
But yeah, no, this game was brutal. We lost a lot of characters in this game. I think we should move on, just because we've got a lot more to cover, unless there's anything else you want from this game in particular.
No, the only thing I will say I was shocked by was us losing this many characters on that episode, because I'm saying to myself, we have a lot more episodes to go, and we just lost a ton of key players. What are we doing here?
Can I just bring up now that we've moved past this game, the storyline that I've hated the entire series and has made no sense and ends up making no sense is the Junho of it all, right? The Junho, the brother, the detective, trying to get back to this island. I forget the ship guy's name. It's not on my list here, but let's just say
Captain Park, right?
Captain Park. Thank you. Captain Park, how he just is leading him in all different directions. At what point do you realize, Junho, that this guy is clearly avoiding the issue when you've been out there for years with him and he found you? He's a freaking captain. He should know exactly where he's at all times. because he obviously was able to save you and go to rescue, like go to where he needed to go to save you. So obviously this guy is giving you bad knowledge or is just a complete idiot. Like, at what point do you give up on this guy or realize, hey, maybe there's something, nefarious going on?
You know it is a problem when your sidekick figures out Captain Park's up to no good. You have to know that's an issue because that guy is not the brightest guy. And he didn't listen to him. And listen, he was smart. I'm not going back on that boat because I don't know what's going to happen on that boat, but I will do some investigating for you outside of being in danger.
He's the smartest one on that entire boat. Like, Woosuk is his name. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Woosuk, whatever. This guy, I mean, I've loved him the whole series too. Like, he's actually been a lot of fun. He's like just kind of got those weird antics and just kind of always like deer in headlights, but also kind of knowledgeable. Like, he comes across as a guy that's a little like, oh, my boss is dead and I don't know what to do, but also is picking up on all the clues that Junho is just not picking up on at all. But this whole storyline all season between, Woosuk breaking into the captain's place and finding the mask and the clothes and the money, him going to jail, like all of it seemed jumbled. Did it not? Like, did it seem like, okay, do we not know where we're going with this storyline? We're just kind of winging it as we go between that and Junho just constantly on the boat, constantly looking, all the clues there. And then finally the captain is like, okay, we got to take these guys out because they're getting too close. Like, it was just very frustrating. And I know I'm kind of wrapping this up into like one big picture just because honestly, it was too much of nothing to just do it individually. And we're trying to break down the season as a whole. And for me, for that storyline to end up with him getting there with the Coast Guard, in the background, him getting on the island, Junho getting all the way up to the very top and seeing his brother, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is where we're going with this. Like, we'll get more into the finale part of it, but like that whole storyline as a whole is the most frustrating thing since probably Game of Thrones finale that I've been frustrated with.
So my take on it is, did we need this storyline? Did it need to be included? Because yes, exactly. I don't think so. I don't think it brought anything to Squid Game overall. Unless I would have been fine with it just ending right there where he shot his brother and his brother was gone.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
Yes. Because what we do see, and we'll talk about this, Soldier 11, when she does the shot on 246, that actually is a full-on storyline that comes completely together.
Yeah.
This other one doesn't.
Yeah.
And as you said, we'll talk about the finale of it all, but at least with that one, there's a full circle. The other situation to me just seems almost filler time.
It is. And it's like they didn't know what to do with the character, but they knew that they had kept him alive through season 1, probably weren't expecting to get a season 2 or season 3. So now that you've kept him alive, you've got to run with it. And we don't know what to do with it, but we're going to just kind of write it as we go. It felt like something that was literally written as they were filming, right? Like they had no idea what they were doing. That storyline is like, okay, let's just go with this for today. Because none of it made sense. The climax was not worth, the juice was not worth the squeeze. And I can't reiterate enough how frustrating it was, because that was one of your biggest storylines outside of 4, 5, 6. The Junho and frontman storyline was probably the next biggest thing, right? Because you had the frontman in 4, 5, 6 and the frontman and Junho. And which way is this going to go? Who's going to attack who? Like, where are these storylines going to come together at some point? And it never did. It never did.
No, it wasn't impactful at all. As we said, they should have just left it out. And I think viewers would have been happy with that. I don't think anyone is really too thrilled because nothing came out of it. If something would have come out of it, I would have been much happier, as I said, with the 2, 4, 6 of it all and that full circle.
Yeah, I really thought we were going to get some kind of 4, 5, 6 Junho they're together taking out the front man. Like, I thought we were going to get something like that, where it's like, okay, you got the completely messed with by the front man for 3 straight seasons, and you've got the brother of the front man who's wanting to find out why his brother did this and essentially stop him. And so maybe they'll come together in the very end and shut this whole thing down while also taking out the front man. Like, that would have been a hell of a lot better ending than what we actually got.
Yeah, the ending did not land. If you are ending a full chapter here, couldn't you have made the ending a bit different? I know, I understand, I'm not a writer, so it's quite difficult, but at least give us something that makes it feel as though, all right, it's completely wrapped up here.
Yeah. So, and we'll get to like the whole finale part of that storyline at the end, because I have a lot to say about that, but that's just an overview of the Jung-ho character. So let's go into our next topic. So we get past that game. I don't want to like completely go through game by game or like that storyline. Let's kind of put it all together, because otherwise we'll be for a while. But right, the next biggest moment would probably be, I want to talk about the Min-soo storyline, right? Sure. So player 125, Min-soo, who iconically, you can never forget his name because of the one character being number 124 being like Min-soo, or Thanos saying Min-soo, like, you know, like now it's stuck in my head. I will always know who that character is because of the way they portrayed that name. Probably one of the highlights, to be honest. But Min-soo is such a layered player, right? Like, he was so uncomfortable in every situation. Obviously someone that's, apprehensive, and once he lost his friend in season 2, really was kind of on his own and not sure what to do after that, but always seemed to survive. Like he's a survivor without really surviving on his own, right? Like, it just kind of seemed like he got to the point where it was like, I'm just trying to survive this whole thing, and somehow he keeps doing it. But we get to a character arc on him where he's not going to completely, I think all his demons are finally catching up to him, right? Like, he takes the drugs. And also, how the hell do you become a drug addict and go through withdrawals after only 2 uses? Like, this must be some powerful shit, right? Like, because that part I was very frustrated with, because I was like, that's not how it works.
Right, because towards the end they start saying, oh, he's the druggie, the junkie. I said he had 2.
He had 2. That's it. And listen, I'm not of that kind of world, but I just know how that stuff works from unfortunately family and friend circumstances. But it's not going to make you have hardcore withdrawals after 2 uses, unless this is like the most powerful drug we've ever seen in the world.
Right, with 124, I understand more, because they were going at it, him and Thanos, towards the beginning. But 125, as we said, just 2. Not much to it, unless it's, as you said, the most powerful drug that is in existence that does not exist where we live. You know what I mean?
Granted, these little pill things that we see on there are definitely not something that's a normal thing. It's obviously a make-believe drug. Right. Drugs are bad, kids. Don't do drugs. But it's just, I felt like that version of like the withdrawals and stuff was so much better with player 124 that the fact that they did it with both of them, I was like, well, this isn't really necessary. Like, you can go down the path of him being like the wimp and being the person in the background who maybe he took 1 or 2 and then he felt like he was powerful enough to survive. But when he runs out, it's like, okay, he's still going to be himself. And now, he doesn't have those drugs to back him up. Now, is he going to be bigger than the person that he's portrayed, where he's just this naive, sensitive person? And can he survive on his own without that? You didn't need the whole withdrawal thing. Like, you already had that storyline exactly where you wanted it, where, okay, he has been apprehensive the whole game. Those drugs helped him get through a couple rounds. Now he doesn't have any more. What is it at the end? Can he do it? Can he overcome his fear to survive in this game. That would have been better than, oh, look, there's a junkie kid in the corner.
Exactly. Let's just knock him out because he has nobody. He's by himself and
Yeah.
he doesn't even know what to do. And he's having the withdrawals, seeing the other people come back, yelling his name, Minsu, Minsu.
Yeah. Like it didn't, I would have loved more of a junkie edit from player 124 than Minsu.
Would you have preferred 124 to have gone further than Minsu and gotten that towards the end of what they made Minsu look like?
I would have rather Namgyu, player 124, get to that last game and be taken out as like the junkie. Like that junkie role should have been him at the final stage, right? Like that, because he was such a big character, and now it's like, okay, I'm doing this without Thanos. For him to go out the way he did. Now, I didn't have a problem with the way he went out. That was par, but I would have preferred him to get to the final game because he has been a big character the entire series.
Right, and I even thought that he was a bigger character than Minsu, but that's also kind of my issue with the game itself and what we've seen in the past is there are people that get to the end and I go, who in the heck are you?
Yes.
I have never seen your number the entire time, and now suddenly you're somewhat relevant and you have a speaking role?
Yes, 100%. It was when we got 4 or 5 characters that had never been seen prior to the feast. Like that was, those people aren't long for the game. They're going to get taken out. Like they're definitely not going to survive. But you've had these other storylines, these other people that you've developed their story throughout multiple seasons now, and you're taking them out way earlier and bringing us these people that we know aren't going to survive to the final stage. And sure, it was, I did think that a couple of the storylines were a little more compelling because you did have players. I don't have the numbers of the 4 guys that were at the final stage besides number 100 and 333, but there were a couple of guys that, okay, I get that character, but we could have had 124 there, right?
Mhm.
And would he team up with 333 again to take out Minsu or do this? Like, how cool would it have been to have 124 there and him and 333 are like, okay, well, let's take out these 2 people and we can survive and win the game. And then he goes after Minsu with like the pole and Minsu takes him out, right? Or does something to take out 124 and kind of release those demons, or sacrifice himself with 124. Like that would have been really cool to see, rather than just, oh, the junkie kid in the corners tripping balls, seeing ghosts, and then dies.
Because we're not as invested in those other characters, so we don't feel some type of way as a viewer watching it. I could care less that one of those characters went out. I didn't care because I don't know who they are. And I think that's the one missing piece. I get it. The fourth game that it was, the hide and seek, you need to get rid of some of the key characters because there's emotion behind it, and that's totally fine, but do not wipe out almost all of them.
Why couldn't you develop those characters that are new to season 3, that have been there the whole time, but they're now new to season 3? We're getting them at the end. Why couldn't you have developed them from the hide and seek game on? Like they could be new characters. Like we lost characters in the last season. You can bring on new characters and new relationships, right? So we could have had so much more character development if you're going to go that route with those people being in there, where they're now the season 3 new characters that are there throughout the whole season, not just at the end.
This is where you take out the whole going to find the island part, and where you could have had the character development.
So look at this. We should have wrote this script, man. We have it down.
No, but I will say, aside from that, it's brilliant. The fact that someone has a mind to be able to even think of this and push it in this direction, it's so successful. I mean, look how popular the show is. But we're just talking hypothetical of what we would have loved to have seen.
Yes, and don't get me wrong. I love this show. I think the series as a whole is great. I think season 2 and season 3 left a little to be desired, but season 1 was almost a perfect season, in my opinion. All right, so we went through Minsu. We went through basically, character arcs. Let's see, what's another character we can develop? Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to go back to what's her number? The older lady, 149.
Yes.
I want to go back to, did you see the writing on the wall with basically her after killing her son, then committing suicide?
So here's my thought process with that entire scenario. You have that conversation that she has with 456. And so she is going through everything that just occurred because they
Mhm.
don't have that much time to think about any of this. It was very quick where she had to make that decision. I'm going to have to kill my son in order to help this baby and the mother live and hopefully get through this game. So I think in her mindset is, what else am I really like going to be beneficial and helpful towards? Because I already made sure that she was saved. I don't know how much more I could bring to the table from that aspect. And I killed my son. And you see the story of, he before had a suicide note and all of this. And so she's just basically, I just don't think she could live with what she had done. But she knew even though she killed him, she was still assisting somebody else that
Yeah.
had a child. Like that's just such a like conflicting thing to have to deal with right after the situation occurred.
Yeah, I thought that it was her trying to leave her last will and testament to basically protect 222 and give the confidence to 456 that he needed for the rest of the game. For her to go out that way was unfortunate. It was, I hated to see it. I understood because like you just lost your son in a terrible way by basically your own hands. Essentially, it wasn't by her hands, but it was. It's just, it was heartbreaking to see. And I think she just gave up hope that this game was ever going to end. And she's an older lady. She was injured. She was like, I'd rather there be one less person and protect 222 and the baby
Mhm.
than continue playing this with the heartbreak I've already gone through. And it was a sad but I think appropriate way for that character to develop.
She knew as well that 456 could be the guy to do it, to provide the ultimate protection going all the way through the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And you were talking about hope. I think we saw the one aspect of hope in her mind was when they went and did that voting, thinking
Mhm.
other people are saying,
Yeah.
okay, the money's there. Maybe, just maybe, they will just click the X button for it to all be over. And then you saw it continue to be the O after O after O. And then
Yeah.
I think from there, the hope was lost.
It
And
was
then
gone.
he
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
completely shut down.
Yeah. So we lost a lot of big characters right there. This was all within the first, 2 episodes that we've lost multiple major characters. And that's another reason that why couldn't we develop the other storyline since we are losing these main characters from season 2 so quickly in the season. Let's get to what is it, Officer that we have on here. And her storyline we saw develop a lot in season 2. You can see what her purpose is, right? Like her purpose is to protect the father of the sick child and to basically get him out of this game. We saw at the end of season 2, something happens to him. She's responsible, and you knew that she was going to do something to protect him. That she wasn't actually going to take him out. She was going to use her ability in this moment to portray that he is dead to get him out. How did you feel season?
You cut out. I missed that
Oh, I said,
question.
what did you think of that storyline throughout the whole season?
As I said, that to me was a good storyline to have. I think it was important for it to be there because we see how it all starts. We're at the theme park. We see who she is. We see who he is. We see the sick child, all of that. And then we enter into the game. He's playing red light, green light. She's up there. She sees him from the tower because she's one of the shooters then. So you're seeing that progress. And then for her to be the one to take the shot at him where she's supposed to technically knock him out. But what she's doing is, okay, I'm doing the shot where maybe we can get some of the organs. And then she says to her new partner, quote unquote, take me to see it. I want to see what it is. And then from there, you knew that something's up. Something's going to go down.
Yeah, 246. I feel like that character, I wanted him to give me more. Like I wanted
Mhm.
him to not just be so submissive, right? Like we got to the point where, and I understand he's shot, like he's not 100%. I do understand that, but we saw him at the end of season 2 being one of the ones to be a part of the charge to try to take all these people out that are running the organization. And then all of a sudden, all through season 3, he's just kind of being protected, right? And at one point, he gets sewn up by the doctor, and she takes everyone out in the room. It's like, okay, but now can he like man up a little bit, or like, like I wanted a little bit more from him in that character. It was fine. And I did think that at the end when he's doing the caricature of her, like I wanted that storyline to be like he realizes it's her. I have no problem with the way it ended, but like, how all of a sudden does the kid walk up fully healthy and she says the kid's name after he's just like, have we met before? She's like, no. Oh, there's your daughter I know exactly her name and everything about her. Like, wouldn't that freak you out as a parent? Like, be like, why do you know my kid?
Yeah, no, definitely, especially because the child is so young too, regarding that. But everything that he went through, so traumatizing that maybe you're just trying to forget everything that just occurred or block it out as much as you can, which I'm sure you really can't do that, but you're trying, because all he's worried about is, how am I taking care of my kid?
I know I'm jumping to the end with that storyline and all that, but like technically 246 is still alive in this game. Like, with how much know about everybody, like how the game creators know everything about everyone and all their background story, wouldn't they? And they knew that he survived to an extent, right? Or at least some people did. I know a lot of them got taken out, but like wouldn't they realize, okay, we've got to kill this guy because 222 is the winner? Like, I just don't get how, for how much they know about everyone, that they don't realize he's still alive,
Well, that's why she was burnt. She burnt all the records. That's why she wanted to know where everything was, because she was just trying to eliminate everything as a whole.
I just still feel like
yeah, no, I get it. They're like, is there a tracker on this person? We have to know where he is. There's still somebody alive. Or does the front man say, I don't care? I don't know.
I don't know. It's just something I thought of personally, where I was just very very interested on how that all worked out. But as far as her storyline, right? And she burns all the records, and she gets there and she's about to, do the things she feels she needs to do, because of her daughter and how her daughter's dead and all this stuff. And then she hears the baby cry, and I'll save that whole thing to the end, because I don't know, maybe should we wrap up her storyline here? Because like, I know it's kind of jumbling how everything pans out at the end, and we do have more to cover, but like, why couldn't she be the one to take the baby? Like, that would have been so much more fitting than, oh, well, I guess my baby could be in China and I'm going to go there to look for her. And instead of, Jun-ho getting the baby, like, why couldn't she get the baby?
We did not get a complete ending with that, because there was no end result where she just takes off on the plane and that's it. Say goodbye to that character. We know nothing else from there. And as you said, this is it. So that was just a weird way, I think, to leave us off as a viewer. But I get what you're saying, from where maybe it could have been a better outcome if she would have ended up with the child, because the child going to the brother doesn't fully make sense to me.
No, it makes no sense.
He turns his back on his brother when his brother is clearly crying out and yelling his name. And then, I'm going to drop a baby off at his house and some money, as if that's going to make everything that I have just done for years and years okay.
And now, guess what? We don't even know if would be a good parent, right? Like you just left a kid with someone, and it's like, oh, and here's the credit card with all the kid's money. What's to say he doesn't go rogue as like a rogue agent and be like, all right, well, I'm not a detective anymore. Baby, here's the street. Thanks for the credit card. Like, it just, there's so much was so frustrating about this. Like, as like, why? Yeah.
Well, that's even what it comes down to with the whole money situation. Everyone's thinking the money's just going to make it all better.
Yeah, it's not. This baby just lost its entire family. Like, it has no one. And who's to say he wants to raise a baby, right? Like this baby might end up in an orphan. Oh, there goes my camera. Hold on a second. Go ahead. I'll fix this.
You're good. Yeah, exactly. We have no idea what's going to happen with this. Bobby will be right back. But I just think this season as a whole was still very good, in my opinion, but it just did miss some key elements with how it completely wrapped up and ended in its entirety. Here we go. Bobby's back now.
I'm back.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about just how it came to a close and who got what, who ended up with what.
So many ways to go about this. The fact that Junho goes and sees his brother, right? And like, you've been doing this whole thing to find your brother and to destroy this whole organization. You know it's going to all blow up right now. Like, you saw the bombs, and then you see him and you have the ability. You have a gun in your hand. You have the ability right now to take him out. You can just take him out. Like, and then it solves the fact that now they lost their front man, and what are they going to do now? And you wrap up that storyline. But to just say, why did you do it? And then he just turns his back and walks away with the baby. It's just like, that's nothing. That's nothing that we thought this was all built up for. You built such a climax to nothing. I can't reiterate how frustrating that was.
Well, you think too, somebody's going to be taken out here. Somebody's going down. I'm thinking one of the two of them is going in this season. And the fact that both of them, now they're both living, I'm very confused by that, because you're building it up as they don't even reunite either. That's the other thing. So they both will go their separate ways anyway. So nothing came out of it.
So many things to say here, because it's just like, then you just get money, you get a baby, and that's it. We see him taking the money out of the account, like putting the card in and figuring out the code, and that's it. That's the end of his storyline. We see more about the frontman storyline at the end than we do his, and it's like, what was this all for? I know we're beating a dead horse here, but it was by far the strangest and most frustrating storyline through 3 seasons that have been built up for nothing. I don't know.
Have you decided, is this more frustrating for you than Game of Thrones?
It's right there. I'm not kidding. Right there. It's on par. I can't say one is worse than the other, because they both sucked so bad. But this one's just fresh, right? Like the Game of Thrones one, it's in the past. I'm like, whatever. At least the whole series as a whole was great. And then you get to the last season, and it was like, this could have been an email. But I just, this is fresh and in my mind. And it was like, why did we get, okay, to make a Game of Thrones reference, it would be like, we have the White Walkers coming this entire time. Like, winter is coming. Here they come. They're going to come in. We got to be able to destroy them, because there's a bigger thing than all of us fighting. It's these people, or these monsters, coming to take over the world. And it's like, if the White Walkers showed up and just were like, we're good, and then just left. Like we got no battle, we got nothing, and they were just like, we're actually better in the snow. We have a bigger area over here. We're good. You guys go ahead and keep killing each other. That's exactly how I felt this went. So maybe this is more frustrating for me.
I mean, you just went on your little rant there, so you're making your points of, it could be this direction. I think for me, what I would have been really disappointed in coming into season 3, so I'm glad this did happen, we still got games.
Yeah. The games are the best part of the show, right? So if you eliminate this, not even a Starbucks cup cameo in this season like we got in Game of Thrones. Great reference there, Mary. I think that if you would have taken out that storyline, had him die in season 1, and that's the storyline capped there, we could have had so much more development with the front man in 4, 5, 6. We could have had all these characters that came at the end that we had no clue who they were. We just knew they were going to die. We could have had their storylines throughout, and you could have, had more games. You could have had more games or more character development, something, right? That there could have been so much more, because how many hours over the course of the entire series did that storyline develop and lead to nothing? It was probably half the show at a certain point, right? At least a third of the show, like a third of the show as a whole. and it went nowhere.
We're searching for this island. We're still trying.
Yeah, we're still searching. This is the worst captain of all time, but we're still searching. All right, so let's be done with that because I think we've beat that down the drain. Let's talk about the final couple games, right?
Yep.
How did you like the jump rope game?
I was all for the jump rope game because timing is everything. So you have to be able to even get into the rope itself when it's going to even start your jumps. And then the fact that they had that little ledge in the middle that you had to get over, I thought it brought a ton more to the game because then you have to think about how am I getting over this? You saw people struggle with it. And then we had the player at the end who I think it was player 69, right? I believe so. I can't fully remember. Haven't seen this character, I don't think, ever. And he's pushing people over the ledge when they get to the end. I said, I have no idea who you are, but genius strategy, honestly, if you're looking to just eliminate more people. But I liked the game. I thought it was interesting because the whole purpose of all this is we're going after games that you would play as a child. Jump rope, that was a big time hit.
As much as I would have want 124 to get to the end and have like a big thing with Minsu, I did like the fact that his ability to now that he's in this final game and has no pills to really get him through it, and Minsu throwing the pill container onto the platform where he then goes and opens it and realizes it's not there, there's nothing there, and then gets taken out by the rope. Like, it was such a perfect way too for like how he went out too, that it was like very fitting. I wish he would have been in that final game, but I did appreciate his ending right here in this because they had to kill off someone major. They killed off 222. Like, that could have been the one major person gone, and at least we would have had him in the finals. But I get it. I get what they did there.
His ending was still good. I just think we wanted him to go the last step just to be at that final game. Yeah. But the way he did go out, I think, was a perfect way for it to occur. And then you have the whole 4, 5, 6 taking the baby across. See, this is where I have my confusion with how the people were in the game. He gets across with the child and everyone is cheering, right?
Yeah.
And then they all start going across, and then 69's like, nope, don't care about anybody, you're going off. But yet you all were just standing there cheering for him to get across with the baby, but now nothing else matters.
Yeah, and it's funny because they're all cheering also because, the baby's across, and they don't think at this point the baby is a part of the game, but they're just like, all right, well, like, yeah, it's good. We don't want to see a baby die. But like at the same time, then they're all just murdering each other, like pushing each other off, or no one's moving, or it's just, I don't know, I liked it because it was basically the replacement for the glass bridge. It was like this version, which I thought was like, because I wanted the glass bridge to come back. We got a couple other games that we got to come back in the season, but then we got a lot of new. I do like that they didn't. I like that they didn't set themselves up where they had to follow the same game format, that they can develop new games while also including some games like red light, green light. So I did appreciate that as a whole. And I hope that when we get season 2, if we get season 2 of Squid Game, the challenge, they incorporate in some way these games because a lot of them I really liked and thought were very, very cool original ideas, especially like that carousel one where they had to go and get into the door and have the right amount of people. I really hope they bring that one into Squid Game, the challenge too.
I have good news for you. They did announce that the reality version is going to officially air November 4th of this year. They announced it today. So
they film it?
Yeah, they already filmed it. Yes, they already filmed it.
I didn't even know they filmed it. I thought they were still like casting.
No, it's filmed. It'll be airing November 4th, and that's a big reason. So Dan from the first Squid Game, player 204, him and I will be back tomorrow to talk about thoughts on season 2 of the reality version. They also did just drop applications for season 3 of the reality version. So we have a lot to talk about tomorrow regarding all that.
Oh, I love Squid Game, the challenge. Like, I know people had mixed opinions on it. I thought the way they filmed it, I loved the games. Like, it felt like you were playing a Squid Game. Obviously not killing each other, but you were doing it to win the money. Like the character development, I feel like with that many people, it's hard, but I feel like they did better than Beast Games did at character development with such a large amount of people, so I really hope that they continue, because I think they could carry that on for multiple seasons, and I'm totally okay with it.
I agree. And also, as you said, they can change up the games. They can keep some of the old ones, bring in some of the new ones, because how epic, as you said, would it be to see them play Mingle? Obviously, they wouldn't be able to. I'm curious about that. Would you be able to lay a hand on somebody? Would you be able to push someone out of the way to get to a door? You know what I mean?
I think you do it and ask for forgiveness later. I don't know, right? Like, I know that you technically, there's got to be a safety component to that.
That's what I'm saying. There has to be one. And I'd love to see if they could come up with a way to incorporate the hide and seek game. I think that would be so fun, them trying to go through a bunch of different rooms. See, there's good games that they can absolutely bring and build that so much more.
You could almost make it like tag or something, like, or hide and seek, where it is that game, but then like they touch a buzzer or something on them and then they're eliminated. I don't know how you make that fair with the chasers being able to get taken out too, because then what's the threat for them? But I mean, these guys are a lot smarter than me. They'll come up with a way to make it work. But I think that would be a lot of fun to see a couple of these games like hide and seek or Mingle all in the Squid Game Challenge too, instead of maybe Battleship.
Were you hoping for the tug of war?
I mean, tug of war, I was really hoping for that. I still didn't understand how they were going to do it, but I mean, hey, we might even get the jump rope one, to be honest with you. I guess it's technically possible, but I don't know how you would do it, but there's a way they can make that work, something to that extent.
I still appreciate the Battleship though, because they were expecting the tug of war. And so then people saw their teams and go, oh, I have all the strong people. I don't know how smart we are. Yeah,
exactly. Like, I mean, the best game is always going to be the cookie game. Like, to me, that's like Squid Game. Like, that is Squid Game, is that game. But to incorporate a new game that wasn't in the series, I'm fine with. Like, I thought Battleship was fine. I didn't hate it. I just wish it would have been an original game, not Battleship. You know what I'm saying? Like, not a game that's already a board game. But I get it. I guess they're trying to do like, oh, this is what kids grew up on. That's like the whole theme of Squid Game, is like we played these games as kids. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was a correct way of doing it. But at the same time, like, I want something original. Like, Mingle is an original game. Like, there's nothing like that you played as a kid.
That's fair. So we'll see. I'm very excited that they announced the date for this, because as you said, we weren't sure when it was coming next.
So let's try to kind of wrap it up. We're already almost at an hour. Let's get to the final game. So the final game, and I know I'm kind of yada-yadaing the whole dinner scene and him getting the knife from the front man, because that really just didn't go anywhere, right? Like, we didn't get anything from it. Yes, he ended up not doing what the front man did when he played his game, and I thought that was a cool little story arc. But like, you're also helping 456, and you don't do that for any of the other characters. And I get it that someone did it for you in the past, but it feels like against what the whole theme of Squid Games is, right?
Fairness. That's what they always say. Remember when they brought them all in and they saw them hanging at the top, all the bodies right there, and saying, listen, we want it fair for everybody. And yet you go and do this. So it really shows you there are no rules.
It's perfectly imperfect. There was something else I thought of too with that storyline, but maybe it'll come to me in a bit. But let's get to the final game. How did you like, what was it? Skyscraper Squid Game? What was the name of it? The game?
Something in that boat.
Yeah.
I literally just kind of go talk about the game with how it is, and that, that the name takes it for itself.
I loved the game. I thought the game was a really cool idea, really, great way to like kind of cap it off without doing actual Squid Game that us Americans have no idea what's going on. This was a much better way of dumbing it down for Americans opposed to what we got at the end of season 1. I think that the strategy was sound for all these guys. Like, the strategy was sound, But then you get those personal feelings, or just like, how are we going to do this? How can we take this person out? And 333 has no shame in the world, right? Is like, oh, I'm just going to take this pole and find a way to push Minsu off.
Just pulls it right out. And the interesting thing on why they got to that game in the first place was because they hear, oh, we get to decide who we take out. Well, not everyone's agenda is the same as your own agenda. So then you really have to think about, oh, if 2 people go, then it's not my group all the way going through. So I could be screwed here. So I love that aspect of it.
I love that too. And I thought it was a great game for the final game. And you knew it was going to come down to like 4, 5, 6, 3, 3, 3 and the baby. Like that was beyond obvious. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to the second stage where how stupid can 333 be to not give himself the numbers no matter what to get to the end, right? You push off 100 and there was no reason to do that. First, like you had the body bag, essentially, is what they were calling him, right? Or what was the guy that they beat up? What they call him?
The lunchbox.
Lunchbox. That's what it was. So the lunchbox, who you've got beat up, you just got to prevent him from freaking being at the edge, right? Essentially, you just got to make sure someone's got an eye on that guy. And why not increase your numbers by keeping 100? And then at the final stage, go for it. Do whatever you're going to do. Take out however many people you want, but at least make sure you have the numbers in the final stage. Like 100 was totally cool with being like, all right, we got those 2 guys died. Let's go. Let's move on to the final stage and then we can figure it out from there. But no, you get so greedy and so money hungry, which is exactly how his character has been all season long, to then push off 100. Then the lunchbox takes himself out, and now you're left with 4, 5, 6, the baby, and yourself. And now what are you going to do? And then I'll let you talk about that too. But what were your things, Phil?
So lunchbox, smart man. Yes, absolutely. Don't let anyone do that to you. I am happy that lunchbox dropped off himself. Totally fine with that. So we know about 100. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Always up for a deal. Take 100 with you. That is the easiest thing you could possibly do there. But I think 333 was just in the moment and goes, you know what? I'm going to take 100 out, and then has the oh shit moment basically when lunchbox is gone. And then you realize, wow, how am I going to maneuver this now?
And then you get past that stage, you get to the end, and you have 4, 5, 6. You're not letting 4, 5, 6 and the baby across, but you know you need at least one of them there. And to have the audacity to basically tell 4, 5, 6, you're staying there, give me the baby, and then 4, 5, 6 being like, well, then it's just you and the baby left. What are you going to do? And he knows, oh, this guy's going to kill his own baby. He's going to kill his own baby for this money and has no problem in the world. Then what was the point of your entire storyline all season where you're like, I'm going to protect you and the baby? 333, I'm going to protect you, or 222, I'm going to protect you and the baby at all costs. And then you finally have the ability to, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I need the money, so I'm going to definitely kill this baby. Like, I'm not going to take care of this thing on my own. What in the hell, man? Like, you were the ultimate villain.
Yeah, that's what I said. One of the biggest villainous characters in all of TV history, in my personal opinion. And you have 4, 5, 6 there saying, I will sacrifice myself. Let this kid have a parent. Like that, he's not 333 is not even thinking about that. This kid parentless, all right?
Yeah, he's more concerned, or he would be more okay with taking out the baby and the money all going to him. Like, even if the baby survives, you're still getting the money, right? Like, the baby's not going to go pull this money out of a debit card. You know, like, that you're going to have the kid's cash too. You're the parent. And like, there's no point to kill the baby because you literally have the cash there. You're its parent. And then 4, 5, 6 is like, listen, don't do this. We don't want this kid to go parentless. I'm okay. I'll sacrifice myself. I have no problem with that. That's your out. That's your out right there. But he doesn't want the responsibility of raising this kid on his own. he doesn't, and he just sees the greed. Like it made no sense to me because, like I said, you have all the cash, but you just don't want to be a parent.
Exactly. And
but there's so many options. Drop them off in an orphanage.
It was such a tough scene to watch because it's 456. You've seen him trying to do everything possible to stop the games, to make sure everyone gets out of there. And he's giving you the biggest out of all time. And you're not taking it because for some reason you don't trust him, which makes no sense. He literally put a firing squad together to try and take everybody out for the games to be over. What about it can you not trust?
And then we get to the end where 456 and 333, neither of them clicked the button.
Yes.
I was so mad. As soon as I saw them fighting and they show the button and it has been pressed, I'm like, so this is what's going to happen. So they're going to kill off 333 here, and then 456 is going to have to kick the button and then kill himself. Like, there's no other way this storyline is going to go. Like, we had everything predictable right there at that point. You guys had one job. You had one job, and it's click the button.
Yes.
What are we doing? You literally battled all around that button without one person just being like, all right, back to fighting. Why?
Yes. And then 333 was hanging there trying to, there just was so much to that ending piece. But as you said, when the combat started, we knew exactly how the entire game was going to end because you knew damn well 456 was not tossing that baby over the edge.
No. But the other thing too is 456 has been so concerned about this baby, but is also a terrible father, right? Mm-hmm. Like throughout the whole series, you could have flown and not been a part of these games to your kid and spent time with your kid. But instead you go and play this game and then you're more concerned about this kid than your own safety. Like, I understand, like, no one's going to hurt a baby, but like, you also have a kid to go home to yourself. Like, you're concerned about keeping this kid alive while not even concerning yourself about how your own kid's going to feel. Like, like I found that very interesting.
And you don't even know. So yes, you die here. You have no idea where the kid's going. The front man could have raised that kid and just brought the kid up to keep running games or doing everything that has been occurring for so long. So that's the other danger that you have to look at in that piece.
I get it. Like, how is he going to be able to take out a kid? Like, that's not something that anyone should ever have to do. No. But the other thing too was the front man said, oh, this game can't be played with only two people. And I get we got to the end, so it technically could have been possible, but couldn't the front man have just ended the game there? Like, just been like, all right, you know what? There's no one left alive, so we can just say, hey, listen, you and the kid survive. Like, I get they wanted to do something with 456 to like wrap up that character as our hero and the person who's sacrificing himself for the kid. It was a good way for him to go. As much as I didn't like it, I would have rather him get in a battle with the front man or something and take the front man out there, like something to that extent, other than just, we are not horses, we are humans, and then just bye. Like, I was bummed that that's how the storyline ended, even though it wasn't a terrible way for him to go.
Right, because even if the time expires, they're going to shoot him up, I'm assuming so. They're not going to let him just stand on there until the front man comes up and there's this whole battle, which we would love to see, but they would just have eliminated him, so he knew he had no option at that point. I'm saving the baby, I have to go, which sucks because, as you said, there could have been much more to this, where we could have seen a whole bigger ending picture with a huge altercation between those two, and it just never came. And that's where our disappointment lies with the brother. Never got that either.
And the fact that we had so much with the front man and 456, and he was befriended the front man when he played in season 2. Like, they were working together, and now he knows the front man was actually a ruse. He was like Ilnam in season 1, where he was playing the games, but he was really the one running the games. Like, he didn't get to do anything to Ilnam in season 1 because Ilnam was dying on his deathbed when he found out the information. At least here, maybe he could have had some kind of battle with the front man where it's like, okay, I didn't get to do this for Ilnam, but you're here now and I'm going to take you out because you've done the same thing Ilnam did to me. Like, he went back with such anger and such animosity to just not have that like climax, you know? And it wasn't terrible. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible the way he went out. I'm not poo-pooing on that. I just wanted something there with the front man.
Yeah, and as I said, there was multiple opportunities for there to be something there with the front man. We had the 4, 5, 6 opportunity. We also had the brother opportunity, and it just didn't pan out that way. Overall, though, I think as an entire series, it's incredible. Just the fact that we even got a season 3. For my personal ranking, I would say number 1, definitely the best. I would put number 3, the second best for me, and number 2 as the third best. That's kind of how I would tie it all together as a whole, because still with season 3, we got the ending of a ton of the characters and how their storylines ended. And I still, the ending was good enough where I think it tops season 2.
I would agree with that. All right, so to wrap it all up, let's talk about all these endings, because we got basically endings from a lot of characters, and we kind of went over some of them. But what did you think? And I think this is something people have had a real problem with, is the front man goes to 456 Child's house in LA, gives her his credit card with his money on it, which that's obviously where all the money went, right? The front man came and grabbed the money and then gave it to the kid. And then also his outfit. Some people are suspecting, does that mean that the kid is going to eventually play under 456 if there's an American version? Is that why the outfit's there? And then other people, and then we get to the part where we see, what's the actress name? Kate Blanchett. We see her in the alleyway doing essentially the American version of Squid Game. She's basically the what is it? I'm totally blanking on that character's name. The one that
the recruiter.
And they're playing Dachi or whatever it's called.
Yes.
What did you think of all that?
So that's a lot to process all in one go. But
yeah.
So my major issue with the entire situation, him going there, and at first the daughter obviously wants nothing to do with it once she hears it pertains to the father. And then you get to talking and they figure out, okay, well, this is all he has left. These are his belongings. And then she opens it. And when I see his uniform and you can see that there is blood on it, I'm thinking to myself, the audacity for you to give that as his belonging, where you can clearly see something happened to him that wasn't good. And so now the poor girl has to process all of that as well. I'm just thinking it from her perspective.
Yeah.
And then she sees the money and is thinking, well, where's the money coming from? She has no ending, no clear answers at all. That's all she's left with.
Yeah, it really did feel like this is how she's going to go searching for how her father died, right?
Right.
Because he just leaves, gives her no explanation. She has a card and she has the outfit. Now I feel like now she's going to use that to go and find what happened to her father. And that's how we're going to get the spinoff with the American version and her being part of the American version.
That's heavy to unpack. I mean, can you imagine? But I do believe you're going in the right direction with it. I just think brutal for the poor girl, then thinking, all right, how did my father go? And then just ends up looped into all this potentially on a spinoff is just wild. But you know how people are, creative minds and wanting things to continue on that are so successful.
Yeah, and the whole Kate Blanchett of it all, it's funny because she's not even American. She's Australian.
Yeah, seriously.
It's like, okay. But I'm going to be of one mind. I actually don't mind them doing a spin-off American version. I think that there's a huge market for it. I think the fact that you'd go from, non-Korean speaking to an American version is going to do probably as good, if not better, just because some people aren't, for whatever reason, dumb Americans don't want to watch it in another language, even with subtitles or dub. The people are just not about that. And I think it's ridiculous. I think some of the greatest shows that are on TV are on Netflix are
Mhm.
Korean made, Japanese made. I think there's some very good shows. Another show very similar to this that's on Netflix, that's a Japanese version. It's called Alice in Borderlands. I don't know if you've seen it. It's as good, if not better, than Squid Game, in my opinion, and it's like exactly the same. Well, not exactly, but very similar. Have you seen that one?
I'll have to add it to my list.
So there's 2 seasons out, and season 3 is going to begin in September. And I really went through the first 2 seasons in like 2 days, and I loved it. It's in my opinion, I think it's better than Squid Game, but
Okay.
it's right there. Like I can see why Squid Game's more popular, but it's right there.
Anything I can binge, I'm all about. But like regarding the spinoffs, I know I've seen in the comments people are not necessarily happy about it, but I guarantee you will watch it.
100%.
So you're going to say not for it, but you will turn it on and tune in because you want to see what becomes of it.
It's like the Squid Game, the challenge, the reality version. Some people didn't love it, but it still did enough numbers to get season 2 and now possibly season 3. Same with Beast Games. People had a lot of problems with Beast Games, and for a lot of right reasons. But guess what? They're making a Beast Games 2 because it was so popular. Like,
exactly.
People are gonna watch. They're gonna watch. Everyone complains. Right. I complain. I've been complaining this whole podcast, and I still loved everything about this show, right? And I'll still tune in if there's an American version. I'll still tune into Squid Game, the challenge, because guess what? It's still captivating television, even if you disagree with it. That almost makes it better, the fact that you have stuff against it because you're so passionate about it.
Because you want it to be your way and your mindset, how you want it to turn out. But as you said, I will be tuning in. I tune into all of it. I love the reality version. I thought it was fantastic. And they're going to continue to do more, as we've said earlier on this podcast. So with the spinoff, there's going to be other elements. It's going to be different. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it still will be an element of Squid Game.
I hope they do like a Squid Game, the first game ever played with Il Nam. Like, I hope they do like a predecessor where it's back in like the 60s or 80s or whatever it was, and do a whole season about in the 80s playing this game, the very first Squid Game, and how it was developed and how Il Nam won. Like, I think that would be amazing. Or even the Frontman season. Like, can we get his season of when he played the game, and let's follow his storyline? Because obviously he has a huge character arc from where he was when he began the game to where he is now. So I'm okay with even that. Like I have no problems with that. I know they're going to do something, right? They're going to do some kind of spinoff. I would prefer the American version over anything right now, but I'm cool with like chances.
They set it up as the American version, so I think that's what is going to happen first. But as you said, this can be so much bigger. I know people are saying don't do something to a good thing, but sometimes you have to, because it's numbers, it's viewers. What is getting people to watch? Money, exactly. So that's what they're going for. If they know people are going to continue to watch, they're going to continue to spit it out.
Also, I'll make this quick because we kind of didn't even cover this the whole time, and it's one thing that was bothering too. The VIPs.
Oh, I didn't even talk about it because they sucked.
They sucked, right? And that, like, why did I don't know if you watched the dub version, but on the dub version, they had people voicing over American accents. Like, you had people speaking English as the characters, and they still dubbed it over with someone else's voice in English, even though they're clearly speaking English. I was like, why do we need it dubbed over the English? Like, I've seen many shows where they can speak English and not have the dub there, right? It was so strange to me. And then you get to the end where there's nothing from the VIPs. Like, did they escape the explosion? Where did they go? Like, all of a sudden, they're just not a part of the show anymore.
Brutal. In comparison to season 1, not the same, not even close. And people brought it up. The masks are different. Everything is different. They're not as exciting. The only thing I will say about the VIPs that I thought it was different that they ended up in the hide and seek and revealed themselves and we saw their faces. That's the only thing where I was happy. Okay, that's unique. That's different.
But everything else was like, we got nothing. I guess a lot of the storylines, we got nothing. We don't know how they escaped the explosion. We don't know what their feelings were on who won. Like, we got nothing. Like, the last thing we see is like, oh, well, it's hard to kill the baby. He needs a moment. and then that was it. That was the end of the VIPs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's why we didn't bring it up, because what is there really to bring up about it?
All right, I think that's about it. Like we said, I agree with you. I think my season rankings are 1, 3, 2. And nothing will ever beat 1, in my opinion. 1 was almost flawless. But as far as Squid Games as a whole, excited to see what the spinoffs are. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'll just plug it one more time. Dan from the reality version of Squid Game, Player 204, him and I will be back tomorrow. We'll talk some of this season for sure, but we're mostly going to be highlighting the announcement that the reality version season 2 airing November 4th will be coming out. Applications just dropped for season 3 of the reality version. So we will be touching base on all of that. Very excited to chat with him. We do wish he could have been here today, but scheduling conflicts, but I still wanted to make sure to get him on because he's very passionate, as I would be as well if I participated in a spin-off version of the series.
Also, guys, it's Big Brother premiere day, everybody. I'm so excited. Big Brother 27 is upon us. Is Rachel in the house? I'm starting to think it's a real possibility. Based off some texts, I have a lot to share. Also, I will be breaking down the episode tonight of the premiere. Immediately following the East Coast airing, we will go live. It'll be Philip from Deal or No Deal Island season 2. He will be my guest. And then after that, going forward, Gabe Ortiz from Survivor 47 will be breaking down the entire season with me. He is a Big Brother virgin, never seen the show before, so it should be interesting to get a Survivor Big Brother virgin's opinion on the season. So let's hope it's a good season. We'll see what he thinks of hopefully Rachel Riley. No idea, but we'll see. But yeah, very excited for all that. So guys, please come check that out. Hang out with us as we talk about the premiere tonight, immediately following the East Coast airing. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for our coverage tonight. Tomorrow, check it out with Lauren and Dan as Squid Game season 3 again, and catch it with me tonight. My camera froze, but all right, guys, we'll see you guys later. Thank you.